Hey, this is Paul Green from the MSP Marketing Edge, and I'm delighted to be back here in the studio. Thank you, Gradient MSP. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can grow your business in just 60 minutes a day. Now, I have been a business owner for, well, this is my 20th year. It's my second substantial business, but I learned a very valuable lesson very early on in my business owning career, which I'm going to pass on to you today. So let us start by time traveling back to the year 2005. And I just started my very first business. I'd been a radio presenter and a journalist up until that point, and then I quit my sort of corporate media job and I started my first business. And this was me back in 2005. This is my old cat. He's dead now. He was called the Hoff, after David Hasselhoff. It's quite an unusual name for him. But that was me back in 2005. No grey hair, younger looking face, lovely cat. And I'd started my first business, which started off as a public relations company. And then we kind of evolved it into a general marketing company before going into vertical marketing. And I had a superpower when I started my business. And the superpower I had was that I was already used to getting up really early in the morning. You see, when I'd been a radio presenter, and for 10 years, I'd got up at 4 in the morning. Because to be on the radio at 6 a.m., you have to get up at 4 a.m. to do all of the prep work and that kind of stuff. So when I started my first business, I started getting up at 5 a.m. And 5 a.m. felt like a bit of a lie-in. But then I dedicated that time, that sort of first hour of the day, to something very, very useful. In fact, right from the beginning, I dedicated 60 minutes every single weekday to working on my business. Because you see, my first business, and it doesn't really matter what we did, but I was a one-man band right at the start. So I was doing all the work. And all throughout the day, I'd be making sales calls, I'd be doing the work, I'd be doing everything else that you do when you start a business. And the secret weapon I had right from the start was that 60 minutes every day. In fact, I did extend it a little bit. We'll talk about that in a second. But 60 minutes every day. I got up at 5 a.m., had a quick cup of tea, and I got started working on my business. And that adds up. Because actually, you think about that 60 minutes every day, which doesn't seem that much on a daily basis, but it adds up to 14,440 minutes a year, which equals 240 hours, which equals 10 solid days, no sleep, fueled by Red Bull, working on your business. And that was my secret right from day one. You see, it didn't matter what I had to do during the day. It didn't matter what was in my calendar, what my disruptions were, what the emergencies and crises were. I had 60 minutes every day, equaling 10 solid days a year to work on the business. And that is how I built that business up in 60-minute chunks. Actually, I quickly extended it to 90 minutes every single weekday, which turned into 15 solid days. 15 days a year. Growing a business. Can you imagine the power of that? And I recommend that you do exactly this in your MSP, because no matter how big your business, you probably have a day where you lose the day very quickly. You get to the end of the day and you're like, where did it go? What happened there? Because of clients calling in with problems, and I know you're there to solve their problems, but then your staff having problems. You might have a ransomware attack out of nowhere that's affected a client. Well, you've just lost a week to that, right? You've got all these little crises and fires and problems, and they steal your day. So you might plan something like, right, I'm gonna do all day every Friday. That's going to be my marketing day. It never happens because you get to Friday and there's nothing in your calendar, but you've got all of those other things during the week that you never did. So it just doesn't happen. And this is why the most robust thing you can do is to focus on growing your MSP in daily chunks. Let me tell you exactly how to do this. First of all, I recommend that you start small and you turn it into a habit. Now, I got up, as I said, at 5 a.m. and that was my 90 minutes. So, and even when I had my first child, well, my only child came along, I worked from 5 a.m. till 6:30 a.m. And for a long time, that was a great time to work because no one was expecting email replies. No one was expecting me to be on social media. My family weren't expecting to interact with me, and that was a great time to do. For you, that might be a little bit too extreme. So maybe for you, it might be first thing in the morning at the office, but in a place where no one can interrupt you. And we'll come on to space in a second. It might be your lunchtime, or it might be early afternoons, or it might be early evening, or even 2 in the morning. I know lots of MSPs, they get their best work done at 2 in the morning, although there's a price to pay in the morning for that. Essentially, you need to figure out the right time and the right space for you to do what you need to do to work on your business. And it must be these two things together, time and space. My time was always 5 a.m. My space was always my house until my child got to about 3 or 4. And she figured out one day that daddy's always up early. So I should get up early as well and help daddy with his work. And I remember having that conversation. That was the day I went and signed a short term lease on an office just down the road from our house. So I could leave the house at 5:15 in the morning, get to that office, and I had space to work. And in fact, as I grew the business going forward, it was really good for me to have a space where I could go where my staff didn't know where I was as well, which was great because actually staff are amazing, but staff get in the way of you needing, of you trying to grow your business. Now, as I said, has to be a daily habit. I promise you with every bone in my body that if you make this a weekly thing, that weekly time will get stolen every week. Whereas if you make it a daily thing, you will lose a day's work like 1 in 10 days. It won't be any more than that. It's insane how having that daily time every day, but pick the same time every day, pick the same place every day, somewhere where you can hide and where it's protected, where you can log out of your PSA, log out of Teams, put your phone on Do Not Disturb, shut down your email, and just focus on the things that grow your business. And this is my final point. What do you do in these things? You only do work that's working on the business and not working in the business. On the business, not in the business. This is one of the most important things for this time. If you find yourself in your 60, 90 minutes a day catching up on emails, reviewing tickets, you've failed with it. The work is to do work that grows your business, working on the business. There are actually only 3 tasks that you do. You either do things that get you brand new clients, and there's a lot of things you can do there, or you do things that get your existing clients to buy from you more often, or you do things that get your existing clients to spend more with you. So get new clients, get them to buy more often, or get them to spend more. Those 3 categories there cover off almost every part of growing your business. I know we've kind of overlooked staff development and operations and stuff like that. But my experience working with many MSPs is those things you tend to work on automatically because they become daily problems for you, but you fail to work on growing your business. So find yourself 60 to 90 minutes a day where you can work on the business, work that gets you brand new clients, or gets those clients to buy more from you, or gets those clients to spend more every single time they buy. If you can turn this into a daily habit, you will get ahead so quickly. It is so powerful.